First of all, very warm welcome to everybody. And most of us are new here, and I would welcome you to join the RightFOLIO family. And with this, we start a new journey in this induction program of 2 days. I'm sure by now you have got the agenda also of the meeting of the 2-day induction program. It's very clear. We are going to be doing in-depth in terms of what are the products and services of the company. And why are we doing this? We are taking these efforts so that once we know this products and services very thoroughly, we would be able to, and we would be in a position to do a proper fact-finding and need analysis of all the politicians. It's not that we roll out the solution and show it to our prospects. It will not help us. This is something very unique. Our services are very, very unique, and I would call it as one-stop solution for everything. It's right from the campaigning part till the winning part. So we take through the entire roadmap, which currently I don't think so there are any other service providers. Whatever I have done the research part, and I'm very happy that we are representing a company which is doing one-stop solution for everything, especially for the campaigning part. Or the politicians today, they don't know, they are doing whatever they are doing in a very unprofessional way, and whatever they know in a primitive way, and whatever they are just doing it. So with us being together in this room and in this platform, we would be equipped very well, and then we would be moving forward. There are in this room itself, I would call it the sales team. Entire sales team is having 100+ years of experience in terms of execution. We have met all types of people, while selling, doing retention, doing the entire sales process. So we know exactly how to handle people and how to get the best out of our clients as well. It's not only that, but retention also is going to be a very, very important role. It's not that we sell something and we are out. We will have to retain, we will have to get references, we will have to get testimonials, we will have to do everything. Starting I myself also would be moving to the field. So it's not that any one of us in the sales will have the luxury of sitting in the office and doing things. We will have to hit the field. After this 2 days of induction program, our phones should start and we should start gaining the appointments. There will be definitely a temptation. I know some of you are already knowing in terms of your political circle, your friends and all. But I would like you to avoid directly giving the solution. Ye hai solution. Please don't give the solution just like that. It doesn't come very easy. We have done a lot of research here, and the management team has done a lot of efforts. So we will also have to take the efforts of doing the fact finding, proper need analysis, what are they doing, and then accordingly sit with the solution and then take it forward. So inputs will be very important in terms of the fact finding, and the next stage is, of course, we do the execution in terms of the revenues and closing. So with this, I think I welcome you once again, and of course this 2 days of learning has to be highly, highly interactive. There is no question which is going to be dumb from our side. Please feel free. It has to be very participative. Each one of you will have to also give a presentation. I'm talking about from the sales side. And we have to be masters after 2 days. We can't say that, 2 days it all time lagega, or, So we don't have time, of course. I'm sure 48 hours is enough to know everything. Okay. So have a productive sessions of 2 days, and enjoy yourself also, because we are going to be learning as well as even planning as well. Who are going to be our audiences? How are we going to be approaching them? Our approach factor. What are we going to be talking to them? Everything A to Z. I don't want a scenario where the sales team says that I don't know how to pitch again after 2 days. It should not happen that. Okay. So I wish everybody all the best, and then we take this to the final execution level. Okay.
And as one of the founding members of the RightFOLio, I invite you all to this family with a warm welcome and expect a lot from you, because we don't doubt our talent acquisition, talent in us. We believe that you all are capable, experienced, and well versed with your own skills and innovations. So we expect you all to participate well in the organization and grow along with us. Let the organization grow and you all grow with us. I came here, I'm Uma by the way, and I think you all must have seen the website, I assume. And we have few divisions in our organization. I thought I'll introduce to you all what are those divisions. One is we recently started a media channel, a web news portal, which is going to play a very crucial role along with us up to the run up to these general elections that which we are heading towards. And that is headed by Mr. Satish Babu Garu. I introduce Mr. Satish ji. So can you just say hi to all of them? And he has a team of regional language content writers, the journalists, and also the video editors, and also the camera person. And that is, I will introduce one after one to you all. That is Mr. Srinivas Kasturi. He is one of the senior journalists in our web channel. And Mr. Raju, Satyanarayana Raju. And Mr. Abdul, who is expert in cine news. Okay. And then we have Siva Prakash and Anand, who are the video editors. I think they're not here now. Siva Prakash, he's one of the senior video editor in our news channel. Yes, of course, how this news channel, web news portal is going to help the sales team, marketing team, and in our journey of political analysis or any of our services, the bucket of services that which we have, will be explained to you in the process of our 2 days induction program. Then we have another department which is very, very important, for which you all are being invited here to make sure that it is sold well and taken into the candidates well. That is our product division. And we have the team members, Mr. Venkat. Can you please get up and wish everyone? That is Venkat and Mr. Raju and Rajashekar, Sandeep, Ravi Teja, Prasanna, not here. Okay. Pradeep. There are 10 of them who are very, very crucial here. I think, did I leave anybody? Rajshekar, yes. Okay. They are the people who are actually compiling a lot of data which is not really available to anybody in general when you search in the websites. See, what happens is when you go to a candidate and say that you know about the constituency, he'll say, I know everything about the constituency. He will deny any fact that he doesn't know a lot of things. Or if you people search yourself in the websites, you will not get every data compiled in one place. What we try to do here in the product is basically to bring in all the data put together, which is useful for a candidate to strategize his campaign and the political career. Okay. Then we have another one department, which is again, every department plays a very important role in RightFOLio in its journey. That's communications. That is headed by Mr. Pawan and Sharath. Pawan, can you just say hi to everyone? and Sharath. And then we have one more, digital marketing and social media management. And ready? Yeah, can you just come out? And Sangarsh. Okay. Then we have the backbones of admin department, which really takes care of all of us, right? Milan is the HR manager, and Hari, I don't know how many of you do the puja in the morning, but when we come to office, everybody will call Hari once. Okay, he's a server man for us, he does everything for us. Okay, that's Hari. And we have Sharif, who does the designing for any product of RightFOLIO. I think I didn't leave anybody else. But last, definitely not least, our managing director, Dr. Parakala Prabhakar garu, who is the main force for all of us to work in this journey, is going to address you all now.
In fact, I've been looking forward to this day when we all get together, spend some time. The reason why we should all spend some time together is, first of all, to know each other. We've been working in different areas, different geographic locations. Some of you are old with RightFOLIO, some of them are a little new, some of them are very fresh. So there are three categories here. And by the time that we finish this, we should all be knowing each other very well, become friends. You see, what happens is that when 30, 40 people sit in a room, it's a crowd. We don't know each other. There is no, synchronization. We should work like a group. Then the next stage, we should all become a team. So today, now, we are starting as a crowd. Tomorrow afternoon, by the time we leave this place, we get out of this room, we should be a team. There has to be a lot of synergy between all of us. That is precisely the main objective of this meeting. What are we? Our company is called RightFOLIO Knowledge Services. That's the full name of our company. We are a knowledge services company. We provide knowledge. We help people with knowledge. That is the fundamental purpose of RightFOLIO. Some time back, a few decades ago, or even a decade ago, people used to say, knowledge is power. Information is power. That's what people used to say. But today, you have information and knowledge from everywhere. You just have to own a smartphone with an internet connection. That's all. It's there everywhere. You are deluged by information. You are deluged by what is called knowledge, data, etc., etc. It's all there. What is not there is the ability to make sense of the huge deluge of data, huge deluge of information, and huge deluge of knowledge. The analysis, to make connections. There are two different phenomena. How are they related? If A, then B. If this happens, this happens. If this happened before 100 times, therefore tomorrow if A happens, B also happens. This is the connection. Today, information is not power, because everybody has. What is power is analysis. In modern age, analysis is power. Insight is power. Somebody who is able to make sense of a huge amount of data is powerful. What RightFOLIO does is it provides analytics, analysis, insights into a huge body and huge amount of data that is available in the world. We help businesses, we help enterprises, we help corporates, we help CEOs, and we help governments, and we also help the political system. When I returned from the London School of Economics, one summer afternoon, that was way back in 92. The country was very, very witnessing a huge turmoil. Babri Masjid and then Mandal agitation. These were the things that were going on. I thought we should understand very scientifically what is the country thinking about the Mandal agitation. That was my first thought. So what I did, I wrote a 2-paragraph proposal, just a 2-paragraph proposal, sent one proposal to the Indian Express by fax. Those days it was fax. You just go to the street corner and there is a fax guy and you give it to him. And another one to the Hindu in Chennai. Just that's all. After 2 days, the local resident editor of the Hindu, he gave me a call and said, it seems you had sent a proposal to our headquarters in Chennai. Those days I think it was still Madras. The editor wants to meet you. Can you go over to Madras? I said, fine. The Indian Express did not get back to me even till today. So I went, and the editor met me along with the executive editor. That time it was Ravi was the editor, and Malini Pathasarthi was the executive editor. So both of them sat, they spoke to us. Then I explained what should be the sample, what is the size of the sample, and how it should be spread, etc., etc. I've explained everything to them. Then he said, fine, please go ahead. As soon as you reach Hyderabad, our Andhra Pradesh manager will meet you and give you a check. That's what he said. 50% advance. So I came out of the Hindu office, I did a proposal, all right, and I explained, but I didn't know how to do it. Really. I knew how to do it methodologically, but then I did not have any logistics. I did not know. It's a nationwide opinion poll that I had proposed. You know, I needed people in Kashmir, I needed people in Assam, I needed people in Gujarat, I needed people in Tamil Nadu, I needed people in Kerala, everywhere, Maharashtra, everywhere. I needed people. But I had no clue. So I took the evening flight, came back to Hyderabad. Then I said, what do I do with Bihar? Okay. Luckily, my education helped me. My university helped me. You know, where I studied, that university had people from all over the country. That was Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. So I said, okay, in Bihar, you know, in Ganga Hostel, that guy used to be there. Let's call him. And those days, you know, it's trunk booking. It's not even so much of, all the places did not even have STD. Forget mobiles. So you book a call, wait, and somebody responds and says, you know, look, I need to do this. Do you know anybody who can do it? Then I know, of course, there is no, in Patna University, there is somebody who can help you. He has his students, he can do that. In Kashmir, similar thing. In that hostel, there is to be somebody from Kashmir. Can I contact? We've contacted. Like that, in 2 days' time, I've covered all the states. All known people. All studied with me, either my seniors or my juniors, my contemporaries, somebody or the other. Or known to them. If not they are directly doing it, at least known to them. They'll put me to somebody. So that helped. So I got the thing done. Then, you know, it's not easy. The logistics were not easy those days. So we called a courier company. Said, look, these are the questionnaires. You need to deliver them there. And then he will give you back. And then you have to bring it back. This was the deal. Of course, you know, lot of difficulties in logistics, etc., etc. Then the entire data in 10 days, it came. All of them came. Bundles after bundles and bundles after bundles used to come. By courier, they all came. We have done opinion polls, we've done market research, we've done policy analysis for governments, for UNICEF, for WTO, from UNDP. There was a time when if UNICEF wanted 10 studies, they had to, no choice but to award 9 out of 10 to us. The 10th one, you know, there used to be head of UNICEF India, one Mr. Bhargava. He said, Prabhakar, I am not able to give you the 10th also because, you know, it shouldn't look odd. You know, all the 10 are going to one organization. That's the reason I am giving it to somebody. Please don't mind. I know you will do a better job, but still. That was the kind of work that we were doing. The kind of data that we have, we are sitting on enormous amount of data. The boys sitting there, you know, they've done excellent job. And that kind of a data it gives a strategic advantage to the client. You know, I fought elections. I've seen a lot of elections. Others fighting elections. I have fought elections. In my family, there were a lot of elections fought. I know elections were fought without the benefit of data and without the benefit of insights from data. They were just fought. But today, with the kind of data that RightFOLIO can provide to a candidate and to a political party, elections can be fought much more scientifically. You will know where exactly to deploy your resources. Resources not necessarily only money. Your organizational resources, your time, how many times you go, how many meetings do you address, how many karyakartas you deploy, do you choose this newspaper or that newspaper, do you look at this television or that television, do you look at poster, do you look at hoarding. Everything can be very, very scientifically planned with the help of data that we have. Data again is not that pages after pages after pages of numbers. It makes no sense actually. But then we also digest that and make sense out of it and say, look, these are the booths that you need to concentrate. These are the booths that are there with you anyway. These are the booths which are marginal. These are the booths which are far ahead for the opponent. They have the advantage. You don't have an advantage. So, the candidate or the political party can look at it and say, okay, this is where I need to spend my resources, spend my time, send more people, etc. etc. These are the. Therefore, in order to strategize the data that is collected, the data that is going to be in your hand, you can very, very confidently go and tell the candidate or the political party, look, if you have this document, you have an advantage. If you have this document, you have an advantage over somebody who doesn't have the document. If you have this document, you will not be shooting in the dark. You will know where to look at, which village to look at, which booth to look at, where to concentrate. This you will know. So, when you go into the market, you are offering something. In those 40-50 pages, you are offering a huge amount of insight that is going to give the political party or the candidate a huge advantage over the opponent. I want you to be very conscious about this. You need to, first of all, be convinced about it. Please read the document and then talk to the people. Tell them. This is something I want you to understand. We have talked about all the verticals, but we have a new addition recently to the portfolio. That is a portal called News Sting. News Sting. Satish Babu is heading it. This is a bilingual portal. It's English and Telugu. We can make it eventually, if it's necessary, then we can even make it into a trilingual. We can also add Hindi. That's not a problem at all. The uniqueness of this is you have written content, you have video content, and you have audio content. Which means that this portal is a newspaper, a television, and a radio, all three rolled into one. And it is not a breaking news kind of a portal, because breaking news is everywhere. You don't have to look for breaking news these days. There's so many. But then, as I said, the speciality of RightFOLIO is to give insights, to give analysis, to make people help make sense of what is the kind of things that is being coming out into the media. So it gives a commentary, it gives analysis, it gives insights, it makes you understand. It makes you understand why certain things are happening, what's behind it, what's behind the headlines. This is another arm that is added to RightFOLIO now. It's in its infancy, but then it's growing very fast. You know, when we started, it was All India ranking was Kasturi, it was 2,15,000. Now it's under a lakh. It's just about August 15th we launched. What is it, Raju?
99,000.
99,000. That's under a lakh now. And this is all August 15th to September 15th is 1 month, and now another 4 days. Yeah. In 34 days, we notched up more than a lakh. That is how fast newsting is growing. You have an excellent data team. If you say, look, in this constituency, the client is asking if you can bring about a correlation table for this. Yeah, immediately you tell them and they make it. That's one. Secondly, you give us whom to reach out to, which segment to reach out to. And our social media team will spring into action. You know, that will buttress your efforts. Not only after you get the client, not only our social media team, social media management team, the digital media team, not only they help the candidate after he becomes a client, but even when you go, in order to make our product more attractive also, it comes into play. So that is what I want you to understand. You know, let me tell you one more thing. We have, so far, we have not gone wrong in even one single forecast of an election outcome so far. Not even one. 98% accuracy, not in forecasting the outcome. We are 100%. 98% accuracy in forecasting the margin of a candidate. You'll be amazed. I don't know if maybe if not today, tomorrow, Uma will show you our recent by-election which happened in Andhra Pradesh in Nandyal. She will show you. I think we were just spot on. What is more important in this context is that they are quite cheap also. If I charge 10 rupees, they will charge 2 rupees. Very attractive. But then what happens? You know what is 2 rupees and what is 10 rupees. And this is another point that you need to impress upon the client. Don't go for cheaper alternatives. They just can't. It's just not possible to carry out a proper study for such paltry amount. It's just not possible unless you cheat. And there is no point in having a study done if it is not done properly, because you see, a lot is at stake in an election. It's no secret that people spend huge amounts of money, and once they lose this election or miss the bus, they'll have to wait for another 5 years. It's a matter of, who has the hold over this constituency or this government or this district, or your opponent is going to have or you are going to have. Very high stakes game. Therefore, you need to impress upon the client that please don't look at the cheaper alternatives which are of no use at all. If that is the case, don't have any study for that matter. You know, you have enough knowledge, you know, you understand things and then go ahead. That's better than going for a cheaper alternative which has absolutely no substance in it, not likely to have a substance in it. So that is another thing that you need to keep in mind and impress upon the client, look, this is something which is very solid. Because you see, there are techniques. There are techniques. And to understand the technique is one thing, and the execution of the technique is another thing. If I tell the team, look, you need to contact these many men and these many women, these many farmers and these many unemployed, these many from this age group and these many from that age group, these many from urban area, these many from rural area, etc., etc. I give the spread. I am very happy. You know, it's most scientific. But then, if I don't pay the guy on the ground well, in the field well, what do? They go, sit in a hotel, sit in a restaurant, sit under a tree, and then fill it up. And then it's just useless. Therefore, we need to take the entire process very seriously, implement it meticulously, carry out the sample faithfully. This you need to impress. Only then is it possible for us to get the outcome of the election forecast accurately. That is how RightFOLIO has been getting it 100% accurate outcome and 98% right in its forecast of the margins. That is how it is. That is the secret. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of supervision. There is a lot of vetting. There is a lot of weeding out of fake data. A lot of fake data comes in. You need to know which is fake data and you have to weed it out. Otherwise, this will vitiate the entire sample. I want you to understand that. You can be confident because the product is absolutely of high quality. As Jack said in his introductory remarks, I do not think that this kind of a product in this form, which makes this kind of a sense, is ever put together by anybody. I must congratulate Uma and the team for bringing in so much. It's so much hard work. I tell you, it's very, very hard work. Even if you go wrong in one column, the entire thing is gone. You need to be very, very precise and very accurate. These days, it is precision. Especially in a digital world, it is precision. A man to man, person to person, you can be imprecise. But machine, you can't be. You can't be imprecise. Point I'm making is, this world is defined by precision. Now, it can't be imprecise. It can't be general. That is why the Know Your Constituency document that we put together is precise up to a single digit. There's no flaw in it. If it is in your hand, you have an edge over the person who doesn't have that.
The journey of RightFOLIO has been quite a long one. The previous incarnation of RightFOLIO was Center for Public Policy Studies. Our first opinion poll was a nationwide opinion poll that we had done for The Hindu. That was way back in 1992. We did a nationwide opinion polling on after the demolition of Babri Masjid, and we have also clubbed the Mandal agitation and its aftermath. That was the beginning, the genesis of Center for Public Policy Studies, which is now RightFOLIO. And you know, we have been doing election analysis and general opinion polling for the media organizations, for individuals, for political parties. You know, those days the opinion polling and political analysis, that wasn't a very matured kind of a field. It was just the beginning of it. Then when we had the capabilities of collecting huge amounts of data from across the country, and only when there was a huge issue which was of interest to the media houses, to the newspapers or to corporates, you know, once in a while there were elections and we did election studies, opinion polling, data analytics. In fact, those days the term data analytics was not a very popular term. It wasn't being used, but we did collect huge amounts of data from across the country. But between elections, since we had all these capabilities, we thought we should also go into the market research. We did market research. We went and asked the consumers what they felt about various products, and you know, the companies were interested in knowing what was good about their product, what was the perception of the consumers about their product, how they should improve it, what is the competition, and how the competition is more attractive, whether it is attractive or not, on what counts, etc. And when we were doing this, on the one hand we were doing opinion polling and election analysis, and on the other hand we were also doing market research. When we were doing market research, we started talking to the clients, talking to the corporates and saying, look, this is your product and this has its strengths, the following ones. Then you know, the competition has these strengths. And then we started also saying that, look, if you position your brand like this, if you position your product like this, it is going to be more popular in the market. Your sales would improve. The satisfaction level on that particular aspect is low and this particular aspect it is high. You know, this is the kind of analysis that we were able to give to the client. And the client started saying that, you know, just the market research, if you tell us, you know, these many people wanted this, these many people liked it, these many people did not like it, this is how the competition was performing. If this is the analysis that you are giving, and if you are able to also club it with how to project our brand, how to make our brand more visible, how to take it nearer to the people, how to make it more acceptable, how to make it a household name. If you can give a strategy for this and also help us to position our brands, that would be much more helpful. Then we from there graduated into branding. You know, we entered the space of branding. From political analysis, from opinion polling, market research, and then branding. And then, you know, the corporates have a need to communicate about their brand, about their products to the general consumer, to the market. Then slowly the clients started asking us, you know, tell us how to communicate this particular thing. Tell us how do we, you know, talk about our product, talk about our brand. What are the mediums that are available and how best to leverage those mediums. You know, initially at that time, the social media was not very popular. It wasn't even there initially. So the mainstream media, the television, the print, and then the hoardings and the out of home platforms, and then comes slowly the social media. You know, the YouTube and Twitter, the Facebook and Instagram, you know, radio, etc., etc. And you know, it became, the portfolio became a little more widespread. So that is how we entered into the corporate communications. Now, corporate communications is not only a communication between the corporate and the public, but huge corporations will have to talk to themselves within internally. So, to their employees, other stakeholders, between and among a lot of divisions. So, internal communications as well as the external communications. So, political analysis, opinion polling, market research, and then branding, and then communications, internal communications as well as the external communications. And then see, brands will have to walk the talk. A branding agency, a communications agency, a market research agency like ours, we can tell the corporate, look, this is how we can project your brand, your product. But then if the brand will have to be sustained in the market, if the brand name and the brand strength will have to continue in the market, the brand will have to perform. Therefore, and in order to make the brand perform, the product perform well and meet the expectations of the market, of the consumers, then the people behind it will have to be skilled, competent, and they have to execute their tasks properly, which takes us to the human resources, HR. You need to recruit good people, talented people, skilled people, in order to see that the brand really walks the talk. So, therefore, we entered into the domain of HR. We started helping. The corporate or the client would say, well, you are telling us, this is how your brand is perceived by the market, and this is how we should communicate internally and externally, and this is how our brand will have to be placed or projected, positioned. This is what you say. But then we also need good people to run it. Why don't you help us with that? So, we started helping them in recruiting. And once you recruit, what happens is that these days the skills are fast changing, the requirements are very fast changing. There were days when you studied up to your graduation or post graduation, and your education is over, and then starts you start working for another 20 years or 30 years till you retire. But today the education doesn't come to an end once you start working. In fact, the demands on the reskilling, upgradation of your skills nowadays is much more after you get into the job. So, therefore, what happens is that your HR, once it is recruited, they need to be completely and constantly being upgraded. Now, we did not get into the larger area of training, but we got into, therefore, into the space of conferences. Instead of putting them through a long period of training or retraining, what we thought is that at the apex level, the CEOs, the presidents, the vice presidents, the marketing heads, etc., they should come together, people belonging to different corporates, several corporates, they come together and they spend an evening or an afternoon or a day, depending on the domain, depending on the topic. They sit together, we bring in competent people in that domain, both from the academia as well as from the practicing, people who have had huge experience in this particular domain. They talk and interact. Therefore, what happens is, once an executive enters into the conference organized by RightFOLIO, by the time he or she leaves the conference, they will have upgraded their skills, their knowledge, and learned from their peers, not only from the resource person. They would have learned from them, and then learned the best practices from each other. That would have saved a huge number of hours of reading. If you have to get the knowledge or information that you would otherwise get in a conference in half a day, in a couple of hours or a day, that would have, you would have to spend about 30, 40, 50 hours of reading if you need to get that. But then just by coming together, sitting in a conference organized by RightFOLIO, you would have got that. Not only that, you would have had, you know, a wonderful networking, because you are there together with people who are working in the same domain or different domains from different corporates, different towns, different cities, probably different countries. You know, talk to them. You know, you get a lot of networking benefits also. So this is how Center for Public Policy Studies, the previous incarnation of RightFOLIO and now RightFOLIO, started with political analysis, opinion polling, then market research, then communications, internal communications, external communications, then branding, then HR, and then conferences. This is how the portfolio has grown, and this is, in essence, in brief, this is what RightFOLIO does. We have very long experience in election analysis. The first ever election analysis that we had done was in 1996 Lok Sabha elections. Since then, almost every election, both Lok Sabha as well as several state elections, we have been doing, and our accuracy rate is very high. In fact, it is over 98%. Very seldom do we go wrong. Not only just the result and the outcome of the election, but also by what kind of a margin a party or a candidate is likely to win is also the speciality of RightFOLIO. We are able to achieve this for several reasons. One is the care that we take while spreading the sample. You know, we take into account the accurate profile of the constituency, the voters, male, female, caste distribution, geographic distribution, age distribution, and professions, literate, illiterate, employed, unemployed, farming community, artisans, lawyers, doctors, and then which mandal, which taluks and which blocks, rural, urban, all these are taken into consideration, and the sample that we spread exactly captures the profile of the constituency. In other words, it is the microcosm of the constituency. So, every demographic and the geographic segment is captured in the sample. This is one part. But the most crucial part is the way it is executed. Whatever is designed will have to be executed properly, otherwise there is no meaning in it. So, the execution is also very faithful to the design of the sample. And then comes, you know, how the collected sample and the opinions are vetted. You know, sometimes what happens is that the respondent, knowingly or unknowingly, they mislead the investigators. You know, they say things which are inconsistent, things that don't agree with each other. Sometimes they say that the MLA is good, but they don't vote for him. Or sometimes they say that, you know, the performance of the government is bad, but anyway they are going to vote for. You know, these things you need to see if there are inconsistencies or deliberately there is an attempt to mislead the respondent, etc., which is likely to vitiate the rest of the data. So, those things will have to be carefully detected and weeded out. So, if that is not done, then the outcome is going to be misleading. It is not going to reflect the outcome. So, there we take care, and after that, you know, it is just not, you know, what you put in and what comes out is the result. It also needs to be analyzed. You know, causal relations will have to be established, correlations will have to be established, and the analyst will have to understand the distinction between causal relationships and correlations. After that, you also do some weightage of the responses. On the basis of that, we decide, a particular candidate or a particular political party is likely to win, and likely to win with this kind of a margin, or likely to lose with this kind of a margin. That is why RightFolio's predictions and forecasts are over 98% accurate. That is the speciality. And then our experience has been in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, in Karnataka, in Gujarat, in Himachal Pradesh, and of course the nationwide opinion polling that we do, not only just the electoral outcomes but also on major issues. We have done on the fallout of Babri Masjid and Mandal agitation for the reputed newspaper, The Hindu, and for several other organizations. This has been the track record of RightFolio in political analysis and election studies and opinion polling. In RightFolio, we put together a very useful document. It gives at a glance the entire profile of the constituency, and in say about 40 to 50 pages, it gives a very comprehensive electorally significant information to the political party or to the contesting candidate. I will tell you what it is. It gives you an idea of what is the population, what is male population, what is female population, how much is the electorate, and how many are SCs and how many are STs, how many male, female electors, and then how many are rural, how many are urban, and how many belong to 18 to 25 age group, 26 to 50 age group, 50 to 60 and above 60, this kind of a both demographic as well as geographic details of the constituency. At one glance, the candidate or the political party will know the entire profile of the constituency. And then what is useful in this is that booth wise this document is going to give the candidate voting details of what kind of a voting has been secured by what political party in 2008, 2009, 2013, 2014, booth wise details. Not only that, we have also put together details and information about in what booths is this particular party strong, in how many booths and which booths the other political party is strong, and between two elections which booths have shifted from one party to the other and which booths have shifted from this party to the other party. Then what is the percentage of booths which stayed with one political party, and what is the percentage of booths that they have shifted to another political party. This is very significant. And another thing that we have put in this document is, if a particular party has lost these booths, how many booths have they lost, say just about 10 votes or less? How many booths they have lost with more than 10 to say 20, more than 20 to 40, 100 or more than 150. So, which means that this information, booth wise information, can be useful to a political party and to a candidate in order to strategize which booths they have to concentrate on, which booths they have to consolidate, which booths the opponent is strong, and what are the booths that we need to concentrate to get some votes from the opposition. So, instead of just going on blanket kind of a campaign, the campaign can be pinpointed. It can be surgical actually, in the sense in this particular mandal, in this particular taluk, in this particular block, these are the booths that they have been consistently over the last 3 or 4 elections with this party or with that party. So, these political parties and candidates can strategize, okay, these are the booths. Now, in these booths, we have 10 or more votes lead. So, how to increase this 10 votes lead into 50 votes, 40 votes, 60 votes, 100 votes. And if the other political party is leading by say about 100 votes in a bunch of booths, then how to reduce those margins? You know, if you reduce one vote as a margin for the other person, other political party, that's a gain. And if we increase our margin in those booths which have stayed with us consistently, then it's a further gain for us. So that kind of a strategizing is important, and that kind of a strategizing is very, very useful. This particular information is useful for that kind of a strategizing. So that, you know, in order to win an election and to plan a campaign, plan your time, you know, how many days to campaign in this particular block, how many days to campaign in this particular block, and how to concentrate, which booths to concentrate, which booths we can spend less time, in which booths we spend a little more resources, time and other resources, you know, campaign material, etc. All these things can be very, very rationalized and much more effectively used with this document, which is called Know Your Constituency, Know Your Assembly Constituency, Know Your Lok Sabha Constituency. This is the product that the RightFOLIO team has put together. This will be very useful for planning the campaign and carrying out the campaign and executing the campaign in order to win the election and alter the outcome of the election. What was not there 15, 20 years ago and what is everywhere now is digital. You know, when corporates marketed their products, their brands, they looked at the newspaper, they looked at the outdoor, they looked at the hoardings, and you know, this is what they looked at. But today, digital marketing is the in thing. You cannot afford to miss the digital bus. You have to be on digital platforms. There are social media platforms, it is digital, then you have websites, you have YouTube, you have blogs, and you know, you have podcasts, you have internet radio, you digitize everything now. And in these digital platforms, you know, the advantage is that if you put an ad in the newspaper, we do not know how many people are reading it, how many people are seeing it, how many engagements are there with a newspaper ad or even a hoarding or even a radio. But then when it is digitized, when it is on digital platforms, you can very accurately measure what is the quality of engagement and what is the quantum of engagement. How many clicks and how many people stayed for how long on your small video, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on your YouTube video, on your Instagram, you know. In all these platforms, it is much more measurable. That is one. The second one is you can target it very precisely. You know, people who are looking at these particular sites, you know, they get this, your ad. They get your products positioning, they get your brand's positioning. So that you are, not only are you able to measure, you know, how many people are engaging and for how long are they engaging, how many unique visitors are there, to what extent immediately they are translating into sales or engagements or inquiries. This is one aspect. The other aspect is that, you know, it also gives you an idea of what is the feedback immediately. You know, if you put this kind of a color, how many people liked it, and if you slightly altered this color, how many people liked it, or how many people disliked it, how many people engaged, how many people did not engage. Even these things will help in pushing your product into the public domain. People will, first of all, they come to know. Secondly, they like. Third, there is an engagement. And then fourth, you will also know, you know, to what extent they are getting translated, converted into sales or engagement with the product. So these platforms are going to increase infinitely in the future. So, internet marketing, digital platforms, social media platforms, all these will have to be used very creatively. Because the demographic which is looking at these platforms is also very different. People who have looked at the print media, the traditional platforms is different. It's a separate kind of a thing, and it is on the wane. It is on the decline. What is now emerging, what is now increasing very rapidly, and what is going to be perhaps 100% is the digital medium and the digital platforms. So, digital marketing is now the marketing platform for any product and any brand. And RightFOLIO has the capability of taking your brand onto almost all the digital platforms, positioning that in a particularly attractive way, and we know how to see that it reaches the maximum number of users. Maximum number of users it reaches at the appropriate time, in an appropriate form, and in an appropriate mood. There's no point in, say, pushing something when somebody is watching an entertainment about a serious book, or when somebody is looking at a serious book or reading a serious article. There's no point in pushing a football or a play or a cricket or something like that. So, the mood has to be judged, the context has to be judged, and in the digital medium, in the digital platform, an appropriate product should be pushed at an appropriate time. This RightFOLIO specializes in. Markets are very dynamic. They're always in a flux, fluid. The customers and consumers, their preferences change, their choices change, and their tastes alter. So, the corporate will have to keep its ear to the ground. They have to understand what are the changing preferences, what are the changing choices, and how tastes are undergoing change. And you'll have to also see and study the competition, with what kind of a new attributes and new features the competition is bringing into the market, what kind of a new products are coming in, what kind of a novel things are coming, and how do we cope with it, how do we understand them, how do we see what kind of a trends are emerging in the market. Which means that the corporate will have to continuously monitor the market. So, market will have to be researched. On a larger scale, we need to study normally what is happening in the market and how our product is performing, whether people are liking it. If they are liking it, what exactly are they liking, so that those features can be enhanced. If in our product the consumers are not liking a certain feature, then how do we eliminate that, or bring that feature down to a level where the dislike or not liking it is it pales into insignificance. So, these, in order to tweak our product, in order to position our product, which segment it is satisfying more. Is it the youth, or is it the elderly generation, is it the millennials, is it the women, or it's men, is it college going students, or is it farmers, or is it housewives or professional women. You need to study all this. In order to study all this, we need to have a very sound and rigorous methodology. RightFOLIO has that. RightFOLIO has several decades of experience in studying the market, in analyzing the market, in finding the mood of the market, in helping the corporates put their finger on the pulse of the market. This is what we do. And therefore, the corporate can build a strategy of how do we brand a particular product and where to position the brand, Are we positioning it in the universities and the colleges, in the professional organizations, or in the HNI band, or it's the middle class, or it's in the rural market, or it's in the urban market? Where do we place the brand? How do we place the brand? Which platforms do we advertise? Is it in the out of home? Is it in the digital platforms, or in the print media, or it is electronic media, the television? Then which television, which segment is watching which television, which programs? This kind of a study, if it is done, rigorously, then it helps the corporate to position the brand, position the product, correct the product, and tailor make it to suit the tastes of the market. This is where RightFOLIO helps, and RightFOLIO's market research abilities and the skills help corporates. We all know that market is a very crowded place. Each product is produced by dozens of firms. Each service is provided by dozens of companies and corporates. Then the challenge for the companies and the corporates is, how do we create a distinct identity for my product? That is called branding. Once you look at the product, yes, this is a reliable product, this is a reliable service, this is good, you can depend on it. The quality is assured. These are the feelings that a consumer ought to get when you look at, when he or she looks at the product. Its logo, its identity is established, and it is directly connected to the quality, to dependability, to reliability, to the high standards. Almost it's flawless. That's the feeling that we should generate. It's not merely advertising, it's not merely publicity, but it is branding. It is creating a distinct identity and evoking a feeling of dependability and reliability about your product. RightFOLIO understands the depth of branding. It understands the tools to make your product or your company a very close to the hearts of the consumers. It is making your brand and your product identified with very high standards in the mind of the consumer, which means that RightFOLIO helps the product and the corporate to occupy the mind space of the consumer. It's just not making your product known to the public. That is called advertising, that's called publicity. Such and such company exists, such and such a company produces certain things. Yeah, that's fine. That's only 10% of the job. But when it comes to, when they see this, when they need to identify this closely with, yes, I can blindly buy this, I can blindly use it, I can rely on this, it doesn't go wrong. That is the feeling that needs to be created, and that's what RightFOLIO does for your company, for your brand.